Okay, so what we're going to do here is this is a quiz review for week number 2, and what we see here is we see 3 lines intersecting, and we have over here angle 24 degrees, and since we see these 2 angles crossing to make an X, the angle exactly opposite this one over here is going to be 24 degrees also. That's what we call vertical angles. So we also have up here, we have this angle of 117 degrees. And this angle over here is vertical with the angle directly opposite it, right? So this angle over here is also going to be 117. Now the whole idea with the vertical angles is this angle and this angle over here are supplemental, so they have to add up to 180. And then this angle and this angle are also supplemental. So these 2 angles have to be the same. Okay? And just the way to see that is, since these 2 angles are supplemental, and this is just kind of a side note, this angle and this angle have to add to 180. So we know that 180 minus 117 is going to be 3 over here, and it's going to be 6, and that's going to be 63. Okay? So that just tells us this angle and this angle have to add up to 180. This angle here is 63. And since this angle and this angle are also supplemental, this is also 180 degrees. The supplement of 63 is 117. So that's the whole idea behind the vertical angles. But to skip all that, we can see these 2 angles are vertical, so they have to give us 117 degrees for both of them. Okay? Now, this angle over here is the one we're looking for. And we're going to use the fact that we have a triangle from the intersection of these 3 lines, and there has to be 180 degrees here. So we know that 117 plus 24 plus x has to sum to 180, right? Because there's a total of 180 degrees in a triangle. And we know that this angle is 117 and this angle is 24. So whatever 117 plus 124 is, x is what we had to get 180. Okay? So we're going to simplify this. Let's see. So if, just to do this in your head real quick, if we take 120 and add 20, we have 140. And add another 4, it's 144 minus 3 is 141. So 117 plus 24 is going to be 120. It's going to be 141 plus x is going to be equal to 180. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to subtract to find x. We're just going to subtract 141 from both sides. Okay. And, well, you can just do this in your calculator if you want to do it in your head. Well, you know, 180 minus 140 is just 40, but you're going to subtract another one because you're subtracting 141. So it's going to be 39. So that tells us that x is going to be equal to 39 degrees. Okay. So I hope that helped as you're prepping for your test. Just wanted to post this. If you have questions, feel free to ask. And I'm just going to do another example of another type of problem that has been common that might give a little trouble, but I've done a couple examples like this. Suppose we have the following, like this. And say we have 2 complementary angles, which means that their sum is going to be 90 degrees. Okay? So suppose that this angle is given, angle 1 has a measure of x, and suppose that angle 2 has a measure of 3x minus 4. Alright, now this is a right angle giving us 90 degrees. You can tell is indicated by the square bracket we have here. And since they're also notice that both lines are perpendicular whenever we have two right angles, 90 degree angles. But what this is going to tell us is that angle x plus, or the measure of angle 1, which is x, plus the measure of angle 2, which is 3x minus 4, is going to sum to a total of 90 degrees. That's what it means to be complementary angles. Okay. Now, there's nothing in front of the parentheses here, so we can ignore the parentheses. And we can just rewrite this as x plus 3x minus 4 is equal to 90 degrees. And if we count the number of x's we have here, that gives us a total of 4 x's. So we're just going to have 4x minus 4 is equal to 90. And we can add 4 to both sides to isolate the 4x. And we're going to have the 4's cancel. So we're going to have 4x, 90 and 4 is 94. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to solve for the x. So what we're going to do here is 4x just means x plus x plus x plus x, or 4 times x. So to undo the multiplication, what we're going to do is we're going to do division. And the value of x stays consistent as long as we do the same thing to both sides of the equation. So what we can do here is we can divide both sides by 4. The 4's cancel to give us an x. And next what we're going to do is 94 over 4. Well, half of 90 is 45, half of 40 is 4 is 2, so half of 94 is going to be 47. Half of 40 is 20, and half of 7 is 3.5. So this is going to be equal to 23.5. Or you can just calculate that using division with a calculator is fine too. And that tells us that the measure of angle x is 23.5. So over here this is going to be 23.5. Now the measure of angle 2 is complementary to angle 1. So there's two ways we can calculate that. The easiest way is just use the fact that they're complements of each other. So we can just write this angle is just going to be equal to 90 minus 23.5, because if x is equal to 23.5 and it's an measure in angle 2 is complement to it, then the measure of angle 2 is just going to be 90 minus 23.5. And 90 minus 20 is going to be 70, minus another 3 is going to be 67, minus 0.5 is going to be 66.5. Which of course is just 90 minus 23.5. And another way you can do that is, if you want, you can plug 23.5 into this equation over here, which is the measure of angle 2, and it should also give you 66.5. One other type of problem I want to go to that some people are asking questions on, and it's similar triangle problem. And suppose we have a building. It's a short building, and we don't know how tall it is. Let's give it a height of x. And the sun is hitting the top of the building at some angle. Right? We don't know what angle that is. It's not going to matter for the problem. And say it's a small building, and it's casting a shadow of about 100 feet. Okay? And there's an observer that's also being hit by the sun at the same angle. This is the height of the observer, and say he's about 6 feet. And he noticed he's casting a shadow. I don't know, about say about 7 feet. Okay. We'd like to know what is the height of the building. Okay. So we're going to notice here that the person, the observer, is making a 90-degree angle with the ground. And we notice that the building, we're going to assume that it's also making a 90-degree angle with the ground. Now, they both share the same angle they're being hit by the sun at, so that angle is the same. So, and you notice that they're both sharing this angle over here. So, what we have is a similar triangle problem because the idea of two similar figures is the ratios of the sides for the figures are the same. And for triangles, whenever they have the same angles, the same corresponding angles, they're similar. So we're going to separate this big triangle and the little triangle inside, and we're going to just draw them separately. So this triangle over here is going to be for the silo, and it has a height of x. It has a base of 100 feet. And we're just going to put, whatever this angle is, we're just going to denote it by an arc with a dash through it. We'll denote this angle with an arc with a double dash on it, and we'll denote this angle is just a right angle, so it's just going to be a standard square bracket. Now for the guy, we have more complete information on that one. I'll just draw that over here. These are not drawn to scale. The guy is 6 feet, so this side of the triangle is going to be 6 feet. Now, we know from the picture these two angles, the angle for the silo and the angle for the man standing being hit by the sun, is the same angle. So we're going to denote these as the exact same angle. They both have that 90-degree angle in the corner here. And they both share this angle in common, so whatever it is, it has to be the same for both. So this angle is the same as this angle. This angle is the same as this angle, and this angle is the same as this angle. And I know that this is 7 feet. So what I want to know is x's. Now, since the angles match up, I know that the ratio of the sides for the corresponding sides has to be the same. So I'm going to know that x divided by 100 is going to be equal to 6 over 7. And I can just solve for x by multiplying both sides by 100. And hundreds cancel on the left hand side. And on the right hand side, I wind up with x is equal to 600 over 7. Which is going to be a little over 80 feet. Okay, so that's how you would solve this type of problem. And if there's any other questions, just shoot me an email and I'll get back to you. All right, thanks. Have a great day.